One thing I really strongly believe in, the presence of a woman in a man's life is a blessing. And when he fumbles a really good woman and God takes her away from him, that's his most painful lesson. Like the amount of times I've seen a man be blessed with a woman, with God bringing this beautiful angel woman into their lives to help them level up and become better. And he completely wastes the opportunity, drags her through the mud, and then finally, for whatever reason, the relationship ends. What almost every time happens afterwards is she comes out of it, she's in excruciating pain, but she moves on, she heals from it, and literally becomes even more of an angel and even more leveled up. Like, have you ever seen a woman go through a breakup and not level up? No, that doesn't exist.
Shut up, you don't exist.
I find it awfully interesting how modern women will always talk about how good men fumble women and then they're gonna get severely punished for it, while the woman just gets rewarded with praise and comes back better than before. But from what we've seen with modern women, nothing could be further from the truth. Yeah, they'll post on Facebook and Instagram and whatever other social media platforms they worship, and they'll talk about how they're doing great, and they'll go off to club and party with Chad, Tyrone, Raphael, Marco, Chang, Wang, Takeda, and Tucker, and they'll just party their way to the age of 40 when they immediately switch over to TikTok to complain that there's no good men left out there. But her life decisions and her attitude are never called into question. It's always the man's fault for why these things keep on happening. And they'll openly brag about how they're doing better and they're strong and they're independent and they're bravely moving forward with their lives, even though deep down they're empty and hollowed out. And somehow that is always the average man's fault because, as we all know, if you're born a man, you're already wrong no matter what.
I'd argue breakups are like some of the best things that can happen to a woman because she will be the most evolved version of herself when she comes out of it. But a man, God, I've seen breakups destroy a man. I've seen men losing the best woman absolutely destroy him, where his life does not get better. God no longer brings him blessings into his life because he didn't earn it. He fumbled the blessing God sent him, and God's not going to send another one. Not till you grow, not till you learn. And a lot of the times, they take a really long time to do that.
Say, what now?
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I really don't think it's a smart idea for you to be speaking on behalf of the intentions of the man upstairs there, sister, especially when you're the type of woman who thinks the Holy Bible is some shot that you order at a bar. Now, I will be the first to admit I am not well versed when it comes to Christianity, but I'm also fairly certain that's not really how it works. After all, there is a reason why they say he works in mysterious ways, and it's not to inflate your already overblown ego. Now, there are countless men out there who have gone through really rough breakups that have completely destroyed them, and that really doesn't have so much to do with religion as it does with them being able to trust somebody only for it to be thrown back in their faces after everything falls apart. So yeah, there are plenty of men out there who go years with feeling the pain of a nasty breakup. That has absolutely nothing to do with punishment. That just has to do with them being with a woman who doesn't respect him. So you should probably quit while you're ahead there, sister, because you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but that's not gonna stop you. You're a modern woman. You think you're God.
And so you see so many men have their quality of life go down for a really long time. I've seen men be at rock bottom for years because they fumbled this angel that came into their lives. And I think that's a really great lesson for men and women. When you fumble a blessing that was sent to you, God's not going to send you another one for a while. Why would he? Imagine you were a parent, you got your child a brand new toy that was really expensive because you wanted to reward them, and they break it like the first day that they get it. You're not getting them another one. You're gonna have them learn their lesson to appreciate and take care of the things that are given to them. And I see the same with men and women, and fumbling something really good for you.
Blasphemer!
Oh, I see what's going on here. A dude broke up with you because you're insufferable and just a complete bore to be around. Okay, so now you're resorting to religion and practically asking God to punish this guy for saving his own sanity. It's awfully interesting how modern women will reach the age of 30 and then all of a sudden turn to religion. They will go to a couple of church sessions, maybe read a convenient Bible passage or two, then all of a sudden they are filled with faith and holier than thou. Now, I'm not about to speak on behalf of God. I have enough common sense to know that it's not my place to do so. You should probably look into that, sister, because what you're doing is effectively blasphemy. You can't overgeneralize something just because your feelings are hurt that Chad kicked you to the curb after he realized how worthless you were. Now, once again, I'm not well acclimated with the Christian faith, but at the same time, I do know that vanity is a sin, and you are showing that in spades right now. So maybe you should reflect a little bit more on that and less on the breakups of men that you have absolutely nothing to do with.
Vanity. Definitely my favorite sin.
If I had known that men say this when they're not sure about you, I would have saved myself years of being led on. Like, if you ask your guy or whoever any variation of like, are you sure about me? What are we? Where do you see us going? Yada, yada, yada. And he says this, like, any of these three words, honestly, this one word in his reply, run for the freaking hills.
And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, because who are we to judge? Right from wrong, moral, immoral, virgin, slut.
Hey, I'll do you one better there, sister. If a modern woman goes on to TikTok to complain about her exes and her past trysts, then that man should just run for the freaking hills, because we already know where her priorities lay, and it's not with whether or not that man is happy in the relationship. Now, whatever this guy says next is completely immaterial, because we already know that you're in a situationship, so therefore that's not going anywhere. And let's just be real here, it doesn't matter what he says anyways, because you'll just justify whatever he says by thinking if you provide him with enough bedroom fun, then he'll eventually change his mind. Denial is one hell of a drug for the modern woman, and she takes it willingly and freely almost all the time if a man ticks all of the proverbial boxes. I mean, that's how all of this works. If there's a man that you really want, there is no lengths that you're willing to go if it means that he will stay in your life, even if that just means 5 minutes in his bedroom a couple of times a week. And even if you promise yourself to never let it happen again, it will, because you can't help yourself. These are the types of men that you want, and you will always make exceptions for them.
It's like, if you do not know this, you could waste years of your life. You might never know his true intentions. So please just take note. I asked him, like, straight up, like, are you sure about us? Ladies, open your ears. So I asked him, are you sure about us? And he said, no.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
Okay, sweetheart, if he straight up told you no, then you already had your answer years ago, but you willingly sacrificed those years because you thought you had a shot. He wasn't leading you on. You were leading yourself on, thinking that you just needed to bide your time and try to convince him otherwise, even though he made his decision years ago and you just blinded yourself to the truth. That man did not force you to lose years of your life over this. You made the active decision yourself, and you just ignored all the warning signs because you were so blinded by the fact that you had a chance with this guy that you would rather just sacrifice your dignity than accept that maybe this man wasn't all that into you, except for what you were providing him in the bedroom. But even when his actions made it abundantly clear that he wasn't interested, you ignored all of them because you were too busy picking out the colors of the bridesmaids' dresses. And you can't be shocked when you ask him this question after years of waiting that he finally answered no. I mean, come on, lady, what did you expect? And don't say marriage. No one wants to marry you.
That's funny because it's so true.
Tally-ho there, gentlemen and gents. This is Lock the Bounty Hunter's patented copyright protection voice program, which goes into effect when YouTube detects a video that uses music with which YouTube has determined to make their rectum sore. Lock the Bounty Hunter does not condone such actions, nor does he condone the use of piracy, so this program was created to placate the fragile egos of the rot bastards in YouTube's legal department, even though it is quite obvious that the legal department is comprised of nothing but amphetamine-addicted monkeys and a few escaped scholars from the local sanatorium. If this were an actual emergency, you would be advised to sit back, relax, and accept that the asteroid is about to crash into the Earth's crust and obliterate all of mankind in a just a—
I can see behind your shirt.
Woman, I am not touching that sandwich with a 6-foot pole because I have no idea where your hands have been, and frankly, I really don't want to know. My stomach can go without the infection, but since we're talking about sandwiches, is anyone else hungry?
And now, a special television event.
You know, Western television is kind of a funny thing. It used to be a gateway into the imaginations of brilliant writers, telling creative stories that could really capture the hearts and minds of millions of people. Star Trek was kind of like that, but if there's one thing that Star Trek screwed up, it was the concept of the food replicator. I mean, seriously, you push a button and all of a sudden food is delivered to you instantly? It's not only the food, but also plates and glassware? How? If you could control the atoms in such a way to create food and water, what would motivate people to want to work? I mean, the idealistic wonder of traveling through space, meeting new cultures, and infecting them with human diseases sounds all well and good, but what are you supposed to do when those things get broken down? The food replicator is a Starship coup just waiting to happen, and we don't have those in Sector Sigma. You want food, you go to the supermarket and you buy it your own damn self. Now, the supermarkets in Sector Sigma are freaking massive. They're like the size of an entire country. You're talking about catering to the vast tastes and religions of hundreds of different races, so going to the supermarket is a massive pain in the balls to the point where you're actually forced to rent out a bunk for the night if you're going on a supply run. You don't just go to the supermarket for a snack. That's what fuel depots are for. No, if you want to stock up, you're going to lose at least 3 days on the endeavor. So anyways, there I am, just trying to restock my supply of imitation Fruity Pebbles, when before I could reach the last couple of boxes, I was confronted by something that not only filled me with dread, but also a massive amount of annoyance. A gigantic, genetically altered Amish man was staring me down and ready to give me a throttling. And as I started to mentally rearrange my schedule to fit in a beating by a member of the Amish community, he wordlessly motioned me to get into his buggy for a ride, and I already knew what was happening. It was an 8-hour trip to the dairy department, and I was already in a bad mood because that bastard wouldn't say anything. The buggy door opened, and there he was, Cody. He was standing in front of a pallet of freshly squeezed possum milk with a sledgehammer in one hand and a clipboard in the other. Great, I thought. Just what I need. Cody had all but given up on getting me to try to sell his ill-begotten milk products, but hell hath no fury like a dairy peddler scorned. He handed me the clipboard, but instead of some handwritten contract like he normally does, there was an employment application. But Cody wasn't offering me a job though. He figured if I wasn't good enough to sell his milk, then I sure as hell could stock it for him in the supermarket. He was former roommates with the supermarket manager, so he pulled some strings to have me stock his milk deliveries with no questions asked. And to be honest, the job offer was fairly substandard. Less than minimum wage, working in a cold environment with nothing but an intergalactic space hoodie and fingerless hobo gloves for warmth, not to mention the chaotic bullshit hours that come with working in a supermarket. But on the plus side, if I did agree, then I would get slight discounts on store brand products, but only at their other locations, which were literally on the opposite side of the universe. And though the prospect of a 4% discount on intergalactic cheese puffs were tempting, I wasn't about to give up my lifestyle just because Cody was a jerk. But if I didn't fill out the application, he threatened to put duct tape on my arm hair and give me what he likes to call an Ecuadorian wax job. I was in trouble, and I knew it. When suddenly, like a shimmering miracle, Cody's phone went off. He reached into his pocket and opened up a text message from an unknown number. The message was quite simple: let lock go. And it was followed by a picture of Richard Nixon, of all people. Now, Cody wasn't used to text messaging. He never really did learn how to type. So he ignored the message and put the phone back in his pocket and tried to begin its diabolical speech about how it was time to pay back the milkman. But before he could even menacingly get to the first stanza of his 29-page handwritten soliloquy, he received another text: "You've been warned," followed by another picture of Richard Nixon. Cody tried to ignore this one, but before he could even put his phone away, another buzz, and there was a picture of Dick Van Dyke for him to see, and it was followed immediately by a picture of Dick Van Patten. And the look of mild annoyance on Cody's face was absolutely priceless. I tried to stifle my grin of satisfaction, yet I couldn't help but wonder who was helping me out. So I glanced over my shoulder, and who do I see? Why, it was none other than Duke Theodore Octavio Graca. The Duke was in the neighborhood, gathering some odds and ends for a massive pool party. His intergalactic space shopping cart was filled with tortilla chips, crudité, steaks, burgers, and plenty of beverage choices ranging from soda, OJ, purple stuff, and Sunny D. Now, this may not sound like a big deal, but if there was ever a man who could throw the best pool parties, it was the Duke Theodore Octavio Graca. Now, this was no backyard barbecue for bitter housewives to oogle at men who try to cheat on their husbands, and that was because the Duke's pool wasn't so much a chlorinated hole in the ground as much as it was the size of a fairly respectable lake. It came complete with jet skis, pontoon boats, and even a paddle boat that was powerful enough to drag on a full-on bar behind it. And not just anybody was invited to these things. This was an aquatic celebration that only catered to the most respectable of certified gents. If you were invited, there were two rules: don't be an asshole, and bring something to contribute, because that was the thing about the Duke. If he helped you out, you helped him out, no questions asked. I received his wax-sealed invitation in the intergalactic space mail about a week ago, and I made a mental note to head over to Skeeter's house to get a shipping container's worth of super soakers and spare dodgeballs, because you can't have a pool party without those. It's just not done, especially not to a man as honored as the Duke Teodoro Octavio Graca. The Duke was standing there, phone in hand, smoothly pressing send on an endless stream of patented dick pics. Dick Van Dyke, Dick Van Patten, Dick Cheney, Dick Winters, Dick Wolf, Dick York. Cody's phone was receiving an orbital nuking in the form of dicks, and he'd never had so many dick pics on his phone. The endless buzzing, a torturous reminder of the power of dick, as his phone was plagued with so many dicks he didn't even know what to do with them. The look of frustration was so great that you could tell he was plotting something so unrefined and undignified that it could only come after receiving nothing but dick pics to his phone, which had a limited data plan and even less in terms of limited storage. He was clenching his sledgehammer of milk justice and was about to throw down when the sound of squeaky wheels began to turn. And no, it wasn't the sound of justice, it was the sound of Oli Ray, the most dangerous man in the universe. Oli Ray's cart was filled with what seemed like an endless stack of demon peppers from the fields of Burnkator. Now these peppers are so hot that they don't even have a number high enough to measure on the Scoville heat index. Word had it that even the most seasoned of pepper eaters will literally have their minds melted at the heat of these things. You could wash your hands for 3 days and still have an uncomfortable burning sensation when trying to take a leak. Yeah, Oli Ray ate those things like popcorn on a daily basis. Just a light snack before going out to test his bank vault launching trebuchet. Now, Oli Ray could have easily had Cody's milk ship in his sights and destroyed it with one single volley of bank vaults, but that wasn't Oli Ray's style. No, he had something a little bit more menacing in mind. He reached out to one of his buddies in the Parking Enforcement Bureau and found out that Cody's intergalactic space tags had expired about 20 minutes before he entered the supermarket. And before you know it, the parking enforcement was out in full blues, writing out tickets for every single infraction they could find. And to add insult to injury, they would be sending him text updates on every single one of these tickets, which made the buzzing of his phone endless. For every picture of Dick Dale that entered his phone, it was an update that he owed the intergalactic space cops 20 for not having enough tail lights. Dick Clark, followed by fines for an offensive bumper sticker. He even got an infraction for not having his windows tinted enough to go along with an AI video of Dick Buttkiss laughing at him. Now, Cody couldn't keep up with the text messages, and his space data was about to run out. But that didn't stop the furious texting of both of these certified gents until Cody's phone was so chock full of dicks and parking tickets that it literally melted in his hand. He looked at all of us and he knew that defeat was all but admitted. He knew that if he didn't deal with the parking issue, he would have to spend at least 3 months in intergalactic space small claims court, and there was no chance in hell he was going to put himself to that kind of relentless torture. So he scurried away and didn't look back. That was his way. Inside his tough exterior, he had the heart of a mouse. Which is weird. There isn't a doctor in the known universe that's been able to figure out how that's medically possible. So the three of us just stood there for a second, smiling and knowing that Cody had been defeated yet again at his own game. Oli Ray had to get to the hardware section of the store to pick up a few million liters of lighter fluid for the pool party. He'd rigged up a way to have a massive bonfire right in the middle of the Duke's pool, and he wasn't about to disappoint the thousands of certified gents that were going to be there. That wasn't how the most dangerous man in the universe operated. Now, I know all of you are thinking, how is it possible to have a massive bonfire in a swimming pool that's the size of a lake? Well, that's a mystery known only to Oli Ray, the most dangerous man in the universe. The Duke kindly gave me a lift back to the cereal section, and before we parted ways, he reached into his pocket and handed me a coupon for 15% off Fruity Pebbles before heading off to the pool supply department to pick up about 1 million tons of pool shock. You know, just in case some ne'er-do-well decided to piss in his lake-sized swimming pool. I know this might sound like some small token of good faith, but in Sector Sigma, coupons are a symbol of friendship and brotherhood, and it was a gesture that meant a hell of a lot more knowing that it came from a man like Duke Teodoro Octavio Graca. And when I told him that I might be a little late with the aquatic armaments for his pool party, he just told me not to worry, and he offered me use of his patented wormhole technology to cut my travel time in half. All he asked for in return was to never back down and succumb to the whims of a dick like Cody. This This thrilling installment of the Cody's Milk Saga was brought to you compliments of Oli Ray and Theodore Octavio Graca. And it was an honor and a privilege to be able to create this content for you today. Thank you a trillion times plus infinity for your support. It is absolutely fantastic. And of course, I gotta shine some light on all of the members of the Bounty Board for helping me to create content for all of you fine gentlemen and gents out there every single day. Gentlemen and gents, fantastic work. I cannot thank you enough. All hail! And if you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the Bounty Board over on Patreon, where for $5 a month you can get access to exclusive content, as well as some other fantastic tiers if you want to become members of the Lockverse yourselves. The link is in the pinned comment down below.
So I live in a big city, and unfortunately that means that when I walk down the street, I encounter a lot of creepy men.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
But I've developed a system that pretty much ensures that men stay away from me, and it's called my gas station pose. It's called gas station pose because you can use it at a gas station, which is where there are a lot of creepy men. So first, it's all in the face. You gotta go completely disengaged. Like, imagine you look up at someone and they're like, do you really want to talk to them? No, you don't. You need to mean mug them, okay? So first it's the face, then you gotta add in the shoulders, just a little bit, just so you don't look like scared. You know, like you let them know that like if you fuck with me, like.
Well, lady, I guess if you're trying to look like a combination of a department store mannequin drug addict who's holding in a fart, then mission accomplished. I mean, lady, let's just be real here. There aren't a whole lot of men that are approaching you at the freaking gas station. Those places get knocked over more than you when you've had a couple of vodka sodas and Chad is waiting for you in the bathroom. Gas stations are well lit and with tons of security cameras because the gas is more valuable than you, no matter how much you appear to be holding it in. And let's just be real here, that pose does not change anything. If there is a man of ill intent, he's gonna take one look at you and know that you don't know what you're doing. The only reason why men aren't talking to you at the gas station isn't because of that look that you're giving or how you're squaring your shoulders, it's because they are there to purchase fuel and want to get on with their day. And even if they did want to talk to you, they aren't going to run the risk of poisoning their nasal system with the smell of your farts. And that's because such biological warfare was outlawed by the Geneva Convention.
It's on. Ready? So face, shoulders, and then if you want to go the extra mile, add a little bit of fist. Okay, so face, shoulders, fist. Nobody's messing with me.
Oh, I'm so scared.
You know what? I believe in being honest on this channel because I'm an intergalactic space bounty hunter, but I do my best not to engage in fisticuffs because you will always end up engaging with a person who knows more about fighting than you. And lady, I just gotta tell you that a 5-year-old on a sugar high could take you on in a street brawl. All you're doing is making yourself look like an easy target to anybody who would actually want to do harm to you, even though the odds of that happening are surprisingly minimal, but you'll never believe that because you watch true crime dramas, therefore that makes you an expert on the human psyche. And the best part is that you are actually recording yourself on your phone doing this. You actually see yourself doing this stupid pose of yours, and you have absolutely no idea how ineffective this is because you look like a freaking idiot. If anything, what this does is just tell the entire planet that you don't know how to fight, that you don't know how to act in public, and you're just making yourself an easy target for the people who would be doing harm to you. But there I go, just using common sense again. I really keep forgetting that you're incapable of doing that.
Oh, you know that. Of course I do, sir. Everybody knows that. Of course we do, sir!
So my boyfriend always asks why I don't spend more time at his apartment in Boston, and I'm gonna give you guys a little tour so you can see why that may not sound that appealing. First, I'm gonna show you guys his utensil drawer. So it appears, unfortunately, that we have used, all the utensils. Oh, besides a pair of chopsticks, so that should be good. Here we have his his pot and his pan. That's it. We have 2 bowls.
Well, what did the police say?
If there's one thing that modern women simply cannot stand, it's the idea that men can live simply. I mean, I'm not seeing much wrong with this. First off, I think she's being incredibly dramatic that this guy doesn't have any silverware. Wouldn't surprise me if he has it in another drawer or someplace else, but she is just focusing on the cutlery that he gets from takeout, and that for some reason makes her so angry that she needs to shame him. Yeah, he's got a pan and a pot, which is more than enough for most men, but she can't stand the idea that he lives on his own and doesn't have a whole bunch of useless kitchen implements that he's never going to use. It's a known fact, men don't need much in order for them to have a satisfied life when they're living on their own. But modern women cannot fathom the idea that a man is not willing to fill his apartment with a whole bunch of useless knickknacks that he really doesn't need. But that's not gonna stop her from publicly shaming him on the internet because she's not being allowed to completely redecorate his living space just so she can feel mildly happy.
And we have a couple of things in the dishwasher, but that's it. Okay. Here is the trash. Yep, we don't have a trash bin. Here's this with our little broken basketball. And here's another broken basketball. Beautiful, really capturing the aesthetic. Couple of very comfy chairs here.
And
All right, I'm failing to see what the issue is here. This guy's living an incredibly simplistic lifestyle. He doesn't need a trash can because he's got a way to keep the trash bag from falling over. Yeah, he's kind of full, but he's probably going to take it out eventually. He has lawn chairs because it's cheaper than actually buying expensive furniture, and the reason why those basketballs are deflated is because the basketball hoop is in the direct vicinity of a couple of expensive-looking monitors, and he doesn't want to risk damaging them. So what exactly is the problem here? If you ask any man who's ever lived on his own, they're actually going to be kind of envious of this because it's a pretty nice apartment, and he's saving money by not buying useless crap that he doesn't need. Much like he doesn't really need you in his life. I mean, take a look at what you're doing. You are so furious over the fact that he's not wasting his money on crap that your first inclination was to try to humiliate him on the internet because you don't like hanging out at his apartment. Grown-ups don't act this way, lady. This is incredibly immature and petty just because he doesn't have a bunch of useless knickknacks.
And for my favorite part, the bathroom with the shower curtain that I told him he had to get. So yeah, oh, sorry, one sec. His body wash and men's 3-in-1. So let me know what you guys think, if I should be spending more time here. Oh, sorry, one more thing actually. Let me show you my favorite part. The contacts on the fucking wall. The contacts on the fucking wall. Okay, bye.
You're a bitch.
Okay, looks like a clean bathroom. He's got a shower curtain up there, and he's got soap, so that means he's bathing regularly. So what's the issue here? Oh wait, that's right, I forgot. It doesn't look girly enough. I mean, this is something that modern women can't understand, and that is the simplistic lifestyle of a self-respecting man. I mean, you can tell she is angry at him for not buying more stuff to make her happy when it's not even her place. It is his apartment. He can do with it as he pleases, and if you don't like it, no one's telling you have to hang out there. I mean, you really need to look at your face, woman. You are pissed off for literally no reason. Now, I can't explain the contact lenses on the wall, but if it were me, I'd probably leave them up there because it's probably funny. Which is just a testament to show that modern women cannot stand the fact that men can be perfectly content with life with minimal crap. And this woman cannot understand why men don't think like her, and that's just because we're too busy living awesome lives and we couldn't care less about what she thinks. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you once again for checking out the new video, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.